On Downweek's WGY Morning News, nobody really knows how it happens. I mean, it's supposed to be, according to the that Christmas song by Andy, the most wonderful time of the year. Yeah, I get a lousy voice, but you understand the sentiments. And a lot of people, Christmas time comes around, the holidays come around, and all of a sudden they go into a blue funk. And our question is, why does that happen? Well, Judith Barr, author of Power Abused, Power Healed, is with us this morning, and she's a Brookfield, Connecticut psychotherapist, and we're going to talk to her about that blue funk, that blue Christmas that we sometimes get into. Good morning, Judith.
Good morning, Don.
Why is it? I mean, you would think with all of the idea of family getting together, of decorating up the house, of holiday music, of giving presents and getting presents, it'd be the happiest time of the year, but for a lot of people, it's not.
Well, there are a number of reasons, Don. The first one is just a very here and now reason. If people are lonely or people are having difficulties in their families and in their relationships, it can be a painful time just in the current day. But a second level is that anything in the here and now can trigger earlier experiences in our childhood of pain, of loneliness, of sorrow, of fear. And one of the times that people get triggered consistently is during the holidays, because there's, first of all, there's a huge idealized image of what the holidays should be.
Oh, absolutely. And I was going to, I want to go back to the childhood experiences, but that's everywhere you turn. There's, holiday movies. There are holiday stories about, the happiest of families. We're looking at television advertising with, happy, smiling families and Santa coming down the chimney. But in reality, it's not like that, is it?
In most families, no. In reality, it's not like that. It's not. And when we have everything putting this idealized image before us, and we don't feel the same as that idealized image, we don't have that in our lives, there's a discrepancy. And for many people, the discrepancy causes huge pain.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and many people don't know how to handle that pain. If you could feel the pain of the discrepancy and use that pain to heal what has happened in your life that isn't healed, that could be an amazing healing use of that pain.
You mentioned before, going back to childhood experiences, in many cases, maybe we buried that moment. Is that true? And give us an example of a childhood experience and how it would affect the way we'd feel during this holiday.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just want to say that the childhood experiences could happen any time of the year and get triggered during the holidays, or they could happen specifically at the holidays. So for this example, Don, I will just use one that happens at the holidays.
Okay.
Let's say you're a little boy and you're about 6 years old and you wake up Christmas morning and you're so excited, and you go in and you jump on Mommy's and Daddy's bed and you jump on top of Daddy, and he pops up and slaps you because you've awakened him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's...
I mean, I'm doing an exaggerated version, but maybe he could sit up and yell at you, "Get back in bed until I'm up. Don't get out of bed till we're up and we come get you." And all that excitement and aliveness that is there for that little child gets squashed along with the pain of, this is what my daddy did to me.
Yeah.
When I was filled with life and filled with excitement, he yelled at me, he slapped me, he didn't want to be with me. And that pain is too much for a child to bear. So the child does bury it and makes decisions about life, maybe makes decisions that Christmas is the worst time of the year, makes decisions that it's not all right for me to be excited and full of life, maybe makes decisions that if I'm excited and full of life, I will be squashed, and doesn't even realize he's made those decisions and doesn't realize, Don, that those decisions then will drive his life.
Yeah, the back there affects the now.
Yes, it does.
When
They haunt us until we deal with them.
When we come back, I want to talk more about I call them the Christmas blues, and also about power abuse, power healed, and what we can do to deal with those feelings that can ruin the holiday season for us here in Don Week's WGY Morning News. Our guest this morning on Don Week's WGY Morning News, Judith Barr, who's a psychotherapist in Connecticut and is out with Power Abused, Power Healed. That's her website as well, powerabusedpowerhealed.com. And Judith, you and I were talking about some of the roots, some of the past experiences in childhood, in our childhoods, that all of a sudden they surface at this time of the year to create a blue funk for us. And how do we seek out that experience? How do we find what that experience is and then deal with it?
Well, one of the things we need to do is to be willing to have the feelings that we're having. So if you're going into Christmas feeling like you're in a blue funk, as you call it, to let yourself feel it, and instead of trying to push it away, to wonder, why am I feeling this? Why are these feelings so intense? And to know that if they are intense, say, past a 1 or 2 on a scale of 10, that's a really good signal that this is something from your past. And then to start wondering, when in my past did I feel this before? And to trace it back earlier and earlier until you maybe can find the earliest time. And usually to keep pulling the layers off, people need help because we're blind to those early times and because the feelings are scary. As I said before, they're scary for children. And also, Don, unfortunately, our society has made it that feelings are scary things to have. You know, our society advocates medicating feelings.
Yeah.
And, so you may need a counselor or a therapist to help you to do that. And I just want to say there is an article on my website on powerabusedpowerhealed.com called What to Look For in a Therapist.
Let's talk a little bit about that. If we choose to find a therapist to help us deal with the loneliness, what do you look for? And I've always wondered that. What do you look for in a therapist? How do you match your needs with the right therapy?
Mm-hmm. Well, here are some of my top ones, and there are many. The first one is I would want somebody to find out if that therapist does his or her own personal healing work, because many times therapists don't do that. And if as a therapist you can't go as deep as your client needs to go, then you can't go there with your client.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And the second one is that the therapist receives what in the therapy world is called supervision. It doesn't mean you have a boss over you. It means you find another therapist who can be a consultant for you, and you take to that person on a regular basis things that are going on in your work with specific clients, particularly if you feel like you need help or you're stuck, but also just to have a check on, is there something going here that I'm not aware of? Because therapists are also human beings, and we also have places where we're not aware and need to have somebody help us bring things into awareness. So that's the second thing.
Okay.
The third thing is that the therapist is not afraid of his or her own feelings or of yours.
Now,
and again, if a therapist isn't doing their own work with their own feelings, they are going to be afraid of their feelings and of yours and aren't going to be able to help you keep going deeper and deeper.
In, we've mentioned Power Abuse, PowerHealed.com. What, if we go to the web site, what are we going to find there?
Oh, it's many people have said to me this is a really rich resource for people. You'll find articles that I've written. You'll find the newsletters that I've written for the past 2 years in the archived newsletters, and each one has a really inspiring and informative article in it. You'll find radio show interviews like the one we're doing that I put on the website so that people have a chance to listen to me and the host talking like we are today. There are a couple of video interviews, lots of testimonials that talk about people who've experienced my work. That's some of what you'll find on there.
Let me ask you this, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who know exactly what we're talking about. This off feeling, I keep calling it a blue funk, but this feeling of loneliness, this feeling that they're not having the kind of Christmas that they've seen in all of the advertising or in the holiday movies. What do you say to them in closing? What do you say to them?
Well, one of the things I wanted to say before, when you were asking me how does somebody deal with this, my book, Power Abuse, Power Heal, it is a book about stories about healing, and it does show some of the next steps you can take. So one of the things that people can do when they're in this space is, instead of running away from the feelings, find a way to sit with them and find out what the root of them is. And if you want to get more understanding about how you can do the work with yourself to heal it, those stories in the book really help.
Judith, thanks so much. I'm sure you're going to bring a ray of a light to some people that might otherwise have a bleak holiday this Christmas and holiday season.
Oh, Don, thank you. I hope so.
Thanks so much for your visit this morning.
Thank you, too.
Judith Barr, again, the website is PowerAbusedPowerHealed.com, and you're listening to Don Weeks, WGY Morning News.